technical things, our computers figured out. So I'll go ahead and call the regular meeting of the Lake Orion Village Council for Monday, November 10th, 2025 to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
President Rutt,
Here.
Pro Tem Ford,
Here.
Councilmember Comparoni,
Here.
Councilmember Dandelides,
Here.
Councilmember Lamb,
Here.
Councilmember Mosher,
Here.
Councilmember Papachek.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Item 4, presentations. We have 1, Village of Lake Orion Stormwater Management Program, Carol Thurber, NFE. Thank you. Trying to look at that screen and
Tonight, I'm here to present the Stormwater Management Plan or Stormwater Management Program for the Village of Lake Orion. And as everything in the federal government is, it's all acronyms. So if I accidentally refer to something as EAGLE, it's the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, or MPDES, everything's kind of an acronym, so it's all in your packet in case I accidentally refer to it incorrectly. But basically, the Village of Lake Orion has I feel like I skipped one, an MPDES permit, which is a permit for all stormwater discharges from a regulated, it's called an MS4, municipal separate stormwater system. And for every outlet to a water of the state, or surface water of the state. The entire MPDES permit is on the website, and you can follow it by clicking that link. And in the Village of Lake Orion, we actually have 52 outlets to waters of the state, so it keeps Wes pretty busy. And why are we here? I'm sure not everybody has the passion for stormwater that I do, but November 16th is actual National Stormwater Day. And so when Darwin and I were trying to decide what day to present, I said, well, let's do it close to National Stormwater Day. But seriously, why we're here is as part of our stormwater management plan and part of the village's public participation or involvement policy, or the PPP, which is part of the stormwater management plan, we have committed to making a presentation once a year about the stormwater management plan and inviting any comments on implementing that plan. And I'm sure you all want to know where to find it. It is on the village website, and it's through the village website of lakeorion.org, under departments, under public works, and under stormwater management. And you can follow also the link that is below or in the agenda packet. And this is just kind of illustrating it also on the website. What's in the stormwater management plan is it's comprised of 7 different required items that are all kind of listed up there. And each one of those is its own plan within the plan. And basically, it outlines the commitments the village makes to uphold each of those plans, whether that's providing certain monitoring of outfalls, education to the public, reviewing site plans for proper stormwater management, or following proper standard operating procedures. As part of the education plan, I actually would encourage anyone to go to the stormwater management page of the DPW page of the website. There's a wealth of information on there. Darwin has posted many different articles and how-tos from everything from properly cleaning up after your dog to washing your car the right way. Everything to keep our stormwater as clean as it can, because a lot of it goes into either Paint Creek or Lake Orion. The current permit is about to expire. It was issued in 2021, reissued in 2024. We did resubmit our permit application. It's all kind of given to us by the state. They tell us when we have to do it. We received 2 minor sets of comments. One was, unfortunately, the catch basin cleaning is now every 2 years instead of every 3 years. I'm sure you're happy about that. But little minor changes. We expect that to be under public notice any day, and then the new permit will be issued. As part of this application submittal, we condensed or put together the entire stormwater management plan so that it could be on the website instead of seeing little bits and pieces all over and having to figure out what part was what. It's all in one document now. And as part of the public involvement, we welcome any comments, and we can take any tonight if anyone's interested or is excited about stormwater management. Or alternatively, you can make comments by mail to the Director of Public Works or by email also to Wes. So, and that's all I have. I promised I would make it short, but as stormwater is kind of my passion, I'll answer any questions.
Any questions from council?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
We'll take public comments in just a moment. I let the council comment first, and then public, you'll come up to the podium to comment in just a moment. So, Mr. Papchak.
I think I get it, but for newer council members or for people, residents at home watching, just a brief summary of why stormwater management is important. And I know you mentioned flowing into the lakes and Paint Creek and that, but for the residents, can you just give a little more detail?
Stormwater management, and there's horror stories, as we can all see from back in the, before it was much more regulated, where just about anything went into our lakes and our streams, and the pollution was just terrible. Now, with proper stormwater management, we pre-treat our stormwater before it goes into the lake, so it's fairly clean. It's called an 85% total suspended solids that is removed. In addition, Wes has to test every single outfall every year? Dry testing. Yeah, and dry testing every year to make sure that there's no illicit discharges into our stormwater. And we also test for the TMDL, which is another acronym, total maximum daily load for E. coli, to make sure that there is, we're not exceeding any E. coli going into our storms, into our storm sewers, and then consequently into the lakes and streams. But the reason for all of this is to keep our lakes, streams healthy.
Great. Thank you.
Mr. Lamb?
I would think that we don't have much E. coli discharge into the lake through our storms or outfalls.
We haven't had any. We have not exceeded the
Right.
minimum.
The geese probably exceed anything we put in, right?
Right.
What about the oils and the gas and all that kind of stuff? I try not to empty any motor oils into the lake or anything like that, you know, so is that a big deal out of our storm
That is part of
sewer?
the testing that's sent out.
Are
And
within-
we have not had an exceedance.
So we've basically been in compliance then for a
Yes.
long time?
Yeah.
All the car washes, so many car washes, so they don't,
They have to hold, and we also, I'm sorry, I was getting around for that. If there is any kind of complaint, that's part of the ERP or the response procedure of when we address and how we address and as quickly as we can address any complaints that are received.
Mr. Ford?
Just a question about the MDOT basin that we have. If it's drainage from M24, and the basin is not functioning, and when a heavy rain, it just flows right into Paint Creek. Is that something dealt with through this?
Fortunately, that's their outfall and not
Yeah,
the
that's-
village's outfall. But again, all complaints have to be addressed, so making a complaint to either Eagle or to MDOT might help that.
Mr. Danielidis?
So my questions are more for probably Darwin and Wes. So what's the funding source for the execution of this plan? Do we get federal, state, county, township funding, or is it all coming out of our taxes?
It comes out of our local funds. It is budgeted for, stormwater management's budgeted in the Public Works Fund, as a department, sub-department of the Public Works Fund, but it's funded primarily through contributions from the general fund.
So we're paying in our taxes. Who does the township have a similar plan? So if I look around, if I look at our outfall map, and there's clearly spots around the lake that are in the township, and then the township's got places that are draining into other waterways. So does the township have a similar plan?
It's interesting because the village owns all your roads, except for a few, and owns your storm sewer. That's why we have so many outfalls. The township probably only has very few because it's only on township-owned land. The rest of the land is, most of the roads are part of the Road Commission for Oakland County, so it's part of their stormwater management plan and their outfalls.
So my next question is the township plan funded through township taxes? I would assume it is.
I have no idea, but I would.
So where I'm going is, so when I look at my tax bill, I'm paying township taxes and I'm paying village taxes. So am I paying for water management twice? Am I paying for it in the township and I'm paying for it here also?
I wouldn't think so, only because each entity, the village and the township, pay for their own stormwater. So whatever limited stormwater management the township may have, whatever you pay in, they budget for it. It goes toward their stormwater management.
So I'm just going to ask a really silly
But
question.
it's not- it's not
So
double
should I be
dipping.
getting a rebate from the township back to the village?
I
I
would
feel like I'm
say,
paying twice.
I would say no.
I can tell you there are some collaborative efforts. Part of the public education plan is collaborative with the Clinton River Watershed Council. So their public education plan literally is 500 pages long, and we're allowed to just include that in our stormwater management plan. In addition, part of our public education also is a commitment to publish articles. And the Orion Living and in the Review are occasional articles, and we work with the DPW in Orion to use their articles.
I mean, I see a bunch of little roads, King Circle and Pine Tree and whatnot. Those are all along the lake. I got to believe there's some numbered map in the township for those. I don't know.
It's the outfall map.
I just feel like I'm paying
He's
twice.
talking about King Circle, the one that they called on that one time that wasn't ours.
Right.
Any other council questions or comments? Public questions or comments? And if so, come on up to the podium, this board.
Rosemary Ford, 225 North Broadway. I too question what Mr. Ford questioned, in that basin going into Meeks Park, I've seen it too many times, and I know it's MDOT, but could you direct us to, maybe we can do a writing campaign, because they seem to keep blowing us out of the water, and this has been going on for years. I can remember as far back as when Joanne Van Tassel was village manager, which was a long time ago. And she even got people from the state of Michigan to come down, look at it, observe it. And, we've got a forest growing out of that basin. It doesn't retain any water.
There's a
And so I know it's not the village, I know it's the state, but possibly if you can direct those of us that we could maybe start a writing campaign so we could get somebody down here and say, you know what, you're right, this is affecting Paint Creek. If you'd be so kind, thank you.
I will send to Darwin and West
Thank
the
you.
complaint line.
Appreciate that.
Other public comments or questions? Yes, please.
Peter King, 650 South Blocky, Lake Orion, Michigan. I gave you the quarters because actually the government makes mistakes, okay? If you look where it says in God we trust. You look down at the quarter I gave you, it will be a C instead of a G. So just to let you know that that's why I gave you the quarters, okay? I've been part of the 272 Lakeshore. I lived there as well, and Eric knows me, right? We were neighbors, paddle boat neighbors, and he saw me work on the wall. What did we do on the wall, Eric? The watershed's right there, right? And yes, there is an over vegetation growth, but I want to open up a paddle boat water park in the marina area. I want to dredge out the marina, and I want to open it up and then cover up that waterfall. I actually saw somebody come down the ladder and do a face first down the thing in the watershed, and I was like, whoa, I've lived at Crooks Road, I've been in Red Roof Inns, I know the watershed, it runs all the way to Lansing, and it's beautiful. Okay, it's actually beautiful, but it is over-vegetated. If you were to dig that out, dredge it down, do 5-man paddle boat teams, open it up to the public, do something with Greens Park. Greens Park is it's just sitting there. Do something with Greens Park in the form of put a PA system in there, open it up to a Bark Park Pass, allow food trucks, open up, have a refrigeration system, have a potable water system. There should be a tankless water heater in the bathroom, and there's not. So you hit the water, by law, you're supposed to have hot water in 20 seconds. That doesn't happen. I would like to see better management of the Clinton River watershed. The storm drains, keep them clear of debris, okay? And then the last thing that I have, this is an idea that I have, and it's called balance the bubble or be in trouble. And all you have to do is hold the bubble in between the lines. Okay, I'm sure if you're drunk or on something, you probably can't do it, but at least, and it's free, and it's just an idea. So I want to give that to you. That's the quarter. I'm going to step out of here, and because I know you got a whole bunch of other stuff, and it's cold, and I got a long ride home, so I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment on the stormwater management plan? Thank you.
I encourage you to look through it. It's interesting. And Darwin's done a wonderful job of putting a lot of public information on there that it's very helpful.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item number 5, call to the public. Each person wishing to address the village council shall be afforded an opportunity to do so. If you wish to comment, please stand, raise your hand to indicate you wish to speak. When recognized, give your name, address, direct your comments to the chair, and note that comments are limited to 4 minutes. So, public comment. Yeah. Either side is fine. Okay.
I'll give you those.
So, good evening, my name is Ingrid Cliffel, and I'm the new manager of the Paint Creek Trail. And I stopped by the office today for another matter and heard that you had a meeting this evening, so I thought I'd come and say hello and let you put a face and a name together and that sort of thing. So we're very happy to have Commissioner Ford sit with us at our Paint Creek Trailways meetings. And I met Wes today, so it's nice to meet you in person too. He's helped me a lot, and just wanted to open the door to any communication. If there are any issues that I need to be addressing, or you have questions, or, anything, please do reach out to me. So,
Thank you.
and I gave Lindsay, yes, copies of our Paint Creek Trailways brochure for everybody to have a look at. So, does anyone have any questions for me right now, or things to put on my to-do list?
Well, during public comment, we just received comments.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay.
But thank you for coming. And could you state your name again?
Sure, it's Ingrid, I-N-G-R-I-D. Last name is Cliffel, it's K-L-I-F-F like Frank, E-L.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Brenda Beyer, 172 Sabre Way. I've only got a couple comments here, and the one that I really want to go back to is the sidewalk. And I'm actually looking at a policy that was already established, and if anything, because nobody wants to go and walk District 1 or take care of District 1, I just want to have somebody explain to me where it says in the laws that you guys all agreed on, sidewalk slabs that are lifted 3/4 of an inch or greater shall be patched within 48 hours of notification by the Department of Public Works. I have not seen one patchwork been done in 48 hours since I was told at a meeting that 1,000 blue squares that were put out. Over 32 weeks ago, a woman fell, and she reported it, even put a picture out on the website, and nothing has taken care of that. So I'm just kind of wondering where the priority is when we're fixing the cement. And again, with the residents being responsible for taking care of their own, you had a $30,000 budget, and 44 residents got done, and the village's budget went towards the residents instead of only 4 village areas got done out of that $30,000. 44 residents. So it's either you're not telling the citizens, the taxpayers, the truth. We need more people in here to help. Because I can't imagine where you did 44 residentials when they were supposed to be taken care of, and 224 Broadway right here, you can't even walk over the lip. And every time I come, I just get the deer in the headlights, and I know you can't answer it, and I know I'm passionate about what goes on, but I'm just not getting answers, and I really feel like this is going down a rabbit hole. You go from District 1 to District 2 to District 3. You're just doing circles. You're not completing a job. It'd be like me going to the math teacher. You know what? I didn't want to do my math test today, but you guys still graduate me. I'll get it to you in 10 years. I mean, that's all I can say. We need help. We need citizens here, because if I can't do it, I need help because I'm not getting any answers. I'll walk with you anytime that you want, and when you leave here, don't fall on the patch that's not patched right in front of the building. And that was mentioned a while ago. The second thing, real quick, is the water bill. I don't know if anybody on the village council knows that the water bills, I still haven't received my water bill. And the way that I didn't receive my water bill in the mail was I went to my association. I live in a condo. I don't even live in the Vigil. I live on Atwater. Is that I went to my village meeting, and someone was ready to attack the association for their water bill, and the association, AMI, didn't even get their water bill. And I brought it up to Darwin. He was great. He told me how to combat it and everything. That's perfect. But here's my question. People haven't gotten their water bill. They don't really know, because it usually comes on October 1st. I still haven't gotten mine, but I know I came up here and paid it. Where does the $40 late fee go to? What funds is that put into? And lastly, I have moved in December, I moved in 2012. And in 2012, my water bill was $94.34. $94.34 in 2012. Now, I know that this young lady is so mad, and every time I would come in here, I would go in and ask about my water bill. Why is my water bill too high? I can only give you tens of handfuls of reasons that was explained to me. They do it in hundreds of units. They do it in hundreds of units. The thing of it is that my water bill right now is $391.
Thank you.
From
There'll be another time at the end of the meeting.
I don't think it's going to matter anyway, because I just think I'm talking to deaf ears. But you can't rob these people from paying. Something's got to happen with the water bill.
Is there anyone else for public comment?
Yeah, Donald Kindred. I think everybody knows who I am by now. Came here tonight to show you all this. We were all here one night when Mr. Narsh had a difference of opinion in what I was saying. He tried to have me falsely arrested, which I was later given a ticket for disorderly conduct. This right here shows it was thrown out of court. I want you to know that it's things like this from the Lake Orion Police Department that have me coming here like this every meeting when I get a chance. This lady over here, she's right in everything she's saying. Nothing you people say that's going to get done gets done. Here's another little thing that I've noticed. I used to come in here and I could go in that room next door, your little meeting room, and there was a camera up in the corner. I want that camera put back up in that corner. Somebody took that out of there. That camera belongs there. That way, if there's any discrepancy in what you guys have problem with in your meeting, we can go back and look at those films and see it. I don't know who you people think you are, coming in here, changing the building, taking away the cameras, saying we can't see this, we can't see that, we can't do this, we can't do that. I'm getting charged for freedom of speech? Are you kidding me? I'm still waiting to find out when they're going to do the test on the water that's running under the parking lot of the apartment complex here. This has been 2 years, if not more now, people. Yet everybody seems to think I'm so full of shit. I got news for you. This right here shows I'm not. That right there shows that the Lake Orion Police Department have been playing games with me. Here's another little trick I'll let you in on they done. This past Sunday, I was swatted at my house by somebody calling to tell the Lake Orion Police that I had an emergency at my house. So a Lake Orion police officer shows up at my house in the morning as I'm taking the garbage out and says, we had a call that there's an emergency here, an anonymous call. Well, if it's an anonymous call and there's an emergency, something sure seems kind of fishy there that they wouldn't give their name if it was an actual emergency. And then I come up here and find out that the chief tells me, oh, Donnie, that was because of something you must have made. I told the chief, I pissed somebody off on the internet. So they put me in that predicament. And I found out that I'm allowed to file a lawsuit against that person because that's harassment and filing a false police report. Then, yesterday, I get swatted by the DNR. First thing Sunday morning, my landlord's coming out to tell me while I'm working with my critters that the DNR are out front. I go out front to talk to the DNR and he says, Donnie, somebody on the internet says you're not tagging your traps properly. I said, well, I find that awful ironic because I don't even have a trapper's permit yet. It's hunting season for me. I said, I also find it awful ironic that they're saying something like that when I don't even have a trap set yet. Who are these people? How do they get away with sending cops to people's houses over a comment on Facebook? It's freedom of speech, people. We have that thing and that thing standing behind us, and you keep throwing it down our throats.
Thank you.
Donnie, I'm giving you a double like.
Anyone else for public comment?
Hey everyone, nice to follow that up. I'm Matt Craig, I live at 146 Bellevue. I've been having an issue with the village for about, next week will be a year. I have a neighbor who built a retaining wall in my backyard. I've repeatedly reached out to zoning, originally it was Gage, had the cops come out, they confirmed that it was on our property. And then Gage, when he was here, confirmed that there was no permit, which is required by the village building code. I've reached out to Mario multiple times, I've gotten an answer once out of the last 6 months. I've copied Darwin on a few. I have not heard back from him outside of at one point he asked Mario to respond, which Mario did respond, and then never again. So I'm just trying to figure out where I need to go. This has been a pain. My wife cannot stand this, and I don't want to be here to talk to you guys like this. This is a very minor issue, and I feel like it's a quick fix. So if there could be something where I could get a resolution, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Seeing none, I'll close call to the public. Item number 6, approval of the agenda. By order of the president, no matters will be discussed after 9:30 unless the council votes to continue the meeting. Council. Mr. Dandelides.
So I'd like to add 2 items to the agenda, if I could, please. The first one is just a follow-up on a couple of items from previous council meetings. And I really don't intend to want to discuss those, but what I'd really like is just some follow-up as to when we could expect, give us a date on when we're going to hear back. These are just things that are hanging out there. And the second one is, we all had a text from a resident suggesting that when we have a special meeting in there, there's no video, there's no audio. And so my request is, could we just have a brief summary of that meeting? Can we just 2-minute, here's what transpired in our CIP meeting? Just to address that.
Would you be asking our village manager
Yeah,
to
that
do
would be
that?
my
So
thought.
could you give me, so the first one is an update on,
I'm just looking for dates on several items that come up in council that we're owed follow-up on. And I'd just like to know when we're going to get that follow-up.
so update on council items? And that
Yes.
would be from the village manager?
Yes. And then if it's appropriate, just a quick summary of our CFP meeting.
Are you making that as a motion right now, or just asking what others think?
Well, I'll make it as a motion.
So you're going to, so your motion would be to approve the agenda with those 2 items added to it.
Thank you, yes.
Is there support on that? And then I'll take comment.
I'll support.
Okay, so we have support on that, Mr. Lamb?
George, I appreciate I don't think that we should change protocol and rehash a public meeting that was noticed and then take our time to rehash that meeting for someone that's not here requesting it. So I just think that's a waste of time. We record the meetings, they can request audio recording. They can come to the meeting.
Okay, and I'm not going to fall on my sword. It just, I listened to the comments, and I thought there was a possibility we could do something about it.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to turn that off from before. I also would kind of echo Mr. Lamb's sentiments that, I understand the frustration in not being there, that it's not video recorded if you can't make it out of your house, but it is voice recorded, and it also puts our village manager in a position of like, oh, now I have to summarize everything in 2 minutes, or whatever, and that's not.
So you want me to retract that part of the motion? I'm fine with that.
Okay. Would you amend your support with just the addition? Okay. So we have a motion to approve the agenda with item, it would be 11B, updates on council items from the village manager. Any other council comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7, consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are approved by one vote, and I will read those off for us. Item A, approval of Village Council special meeting minutes of October 27, 2025. B, approval of Village Council regular meeting minutes, October 27, 2025. C, receive and file of Parks and Recreation regular meeting minutes, September 23, 2025. D, receive and file Board of Zoning Appeals regular meeting minutes of October 2, 2025. E, receive and file investment report for September 2025. F, receive and file financial statements for October 2025. G, receive and file invoice distribution report for November 12, 2025. H, receive and file police activity report for October 2025. I, approval of special event Polar Express. J, receive and file of Cityhood Study Committee final report. K, receive and file School Committee final report. L, OCCCC, appointment Joseph Bellinger as the village representative to a 2-year term to expire June 30, 2027. And M, budget amendment for appropriation of funds for purchase of pavement crack sealing equipment. Council.
Mike,
Mr. Lamb?
can you drop down items J, K, and L, please?
J, K, L. Anything else? I will move to approve the consent agenda with items J, K, and L removed for further discussion.
Support.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item J, which is now 8A, receive and file Cityhood Study Committee final report. Mr. Lamb.
Yes, I got a couple emails that asked me to just read this. So the Cityhood Committee last met on October 20th, 2025. Then after careful research and discussion, the Cityhood Committee has not found sufficient economic or social benefit for our residents to warrant moving forward in the cityhood process. That was the purpose of the committee. And so at this time, the duties of the committee are completed. If there's any questions, I will make the motion to receive and file the memorandum.
Support.
We have motion and support. Any questions, comments? Any public questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item K, which is now 8B, receive and file Steeple Committee final report. Mr. Lamb.
So the steeple committee was formed to try to help fix the leak in the ceiling. So the steeple has been successfully removed, the roof restored, and the original steeple has been transported to the DPW yard for storage against possible future use or historic preservation. The project was completed by the contractor and DPW department on time and on budget. Additionally, they removed the dangerous gazebo from the front of the building at no cost to us. The committee wishes to thank the contractor, John Healy of Durable Construction, Inc., for his diligence and extra effort in making the project a success. Additional thanks given to DPW Director Wes Sanchez and his crew for their management and support of the project. There were a couple things brought up by a citizen that we note. The existing roof is quite old and should be included for inclusion into a capital improvement plan. The existing roof does not appear to have any adequate ventilation to meet the building codes and might account for excessive temperatures in this hall during the summer. And that should be considered during an inspection by a qualified roofing contractor. The insulation in the ceiling appears to be inadequate, and it was pointed out to me it might possibly have been damaged by the water leaking in. And this should also be considered after a qualified insulation contract inspected. The village staff was noticed of these deficiencies. They indicated that they would be happy to resume normal business maintenance activities such as these. And so the committee is done. So I just removed to receive and file the committee report.
Support. Any council questions or comments? Public questions or comments?
I just have one.
Yeah.
Darwin, is that something do you think you guys should schedule? Would be when would the when would we be starting the next phase of like the repairing the ceiling and checking out those comments related to the substructure behind the ceiling, the insulation damage? When do you think we might be starting to look at that project? This winter?
During the winter months, we will be looking at that. Director Sanchez and I have already had discussions on the next steps in completing the remaining repairs, so we are working on that.
Does that look like a CIP type repair?
It's not a CIP type, that's maintenance.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much.
I just got a quick question. Is that on top of the $150,000 that you've already put into this building? An extra money that I mean, you already spent $150,000 on to repair and to fix.
Questions, you should come up to the mic so
I'm
they can be recorded.
Sorry about that. I was just wondering, we already spent $150,000 on this building alone just to have the council move in here and to repair it. Is this going to be another add-on, the roof, to the $150,000 that we've already spent?
I'm not sure I understand the $150,000.
In your budget, on the line, it says you spent $100,000 to repair and to fix this building. Then you spent $50,000 on the steeple. Now you're going to go back in and you're going to do the roof. Are we adding on to the building cost of trying to get this to be maintained?
We paid $50,000 for the steeple removal and the repairs to the roof.
Yes.
And the remaining repairs will be an additional expense.
Thank you.
This is, I want to note for the public as well as for council. This structure right here was constructed in 1854. It's one of the oldest structures in the village of Lake Orion. It has to be anticipated that there are going to be repairs necessary, and to try to be as sensitive to the historic nature of this structure as we possibly can. It takes time to plan out these repairs, but it's also somewhat expensive. But we owe it to the history of this community to try to do it right.
Thank you. So we have a motion and support to receive and file the committee's final report. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item L, which is now 8C, OCCCC appointment, Joseph Bellinger as a village representative to a 2-year term to expire June 30, 2027. Mr. Lamb.
I was confused over is the cable commission the same?
Yes.
So there's 2 council members and then a citizen member?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask, maybe Mr. Bellinger could come in sometime and say hi, if he has time. I don't know as I remember who he is. That's all. That's the only reason I brought it up. So I move to reappoint Joseph Bellinger as the village resident representative to the Orion Cable Communications Commission for a 2-year term to expire on June 30th, 2027. And I apologize to him for not putting the face to the name. I'm sure when I see him, I'll recognize him.
I'll support. Any council comment? Any public comment? Seeing none, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving down, item number 11A, grant writing opportunities. Mr. McCleary.
Your Honor,
We approve the consent agenda?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Your Honor, members of council, at council's October 27th meeting, council directed the village manager to investigate opportunities within the administration structure to more actively pursue grant funding for the village's capital improvement plan projects and to provide a recommendation to council. I provided you with a lot of background information, including a synopsis of the grant funding that we have obtained just within the past 3 years or so. I also provided council with several options on how to address being more aggressive in grant funding if the council wishes administration to do so. And there are a number of options available. I think if we want to be more aggressive in trying to obtain grant funding, which is very limited as it is, we also want to try to maintain as much flexibility and control over where we allocate resources for grant writing, to make sure that we are funneling those resources into grant programs that we are reasonably assured that we will receive funding or have an opportunity for funding. And so my recommendation was, if the council wants to allocate resources for grant writing, to do it in a way that allows us for maximum control and flexibility. I would recommend that we continue utilizing our consultants to apply for grant funding, but maybe be willing to invest more funds in having them apply for funding. I am not supportive of hiring staff to do grant writing, because I believe if we're hiring somebody and they're working a set number of hours, then we're probably not getting the best return on those costs. So I'm happy to engage in a discussion with council on what you believe the needs are, and to address it, if we want to invest additional funds, by stepping it up with our consultants for specific grant funding applications.
Council.
So I'd like to make a motion. So I'd like to make a motion to direct the village manager to refocus the recently approved part-time additional administrative assistant and focus that position as grant writer. This would remain under the previously approved $30,000 annual cost to the village, so no additional funding would be required. The new grant writer could assist in any overflow at the office window resulting from the new 5-day office schedule. So my rationale behind that is,
First, we have a motion. Is there support? I don't hear any support. So the motion dies, but you're free to make comments on it.
well, we, a couple of weeks ago, we approved, by a margin of 4-3, we approved spending $30,000 to hire another clerical person, part-time, in the office to assist in any overflow that we might have as a result of going to 5-day schedule. I, for one, believe that was unnecessary spending, and in my mind, we would be much better off spending money on a grant writer where we could actually get some benefit from that $30,000. And that person, being part-time, could be in the office in those times that needed to be flexed, so that in the event somebody comes in and wants to buy a park pass or come in and pay their water bill, and we didn't have somebody that was already in the office doing that, this grant writer could do that. I see it as, from a capability, capability to perform that function. You certainly aren't going to take somebody with the clerical skills and have them be a grant writer, but you could certainly have a grant writer sell a park pass. So in my mind, this would be a way to get better value to our taxpayers out of that $30,000 that we decided to spend to open the office 5 days a week. So quite honestly, I think we're wasting our money on $30,000 for another clerical person in the office. My goal here was to try and get some value for that $30,000.
Mr. Lamb.
Mr. McClure, can I ask you a couple of hopefully easy questions? How much do you think we spend each year in searching for and writing grants? You've provided us a list of grants. Now, as we conclude your time, the consultant's time, and we've got a considerable number of free monies this year. Okay, some are small, like 15,000, and some are large. So I'm just curious to know if you have any numbers to say.
We've spent very little money on grant writing. Most of the grant opportunities that we have sought out have been done by each of us in-house. The sanitary sewer pump station improvement project, we received $1.75 million in grant funding. And and I'm the one that filed that grant application. I prepared it and filed the grant application. Our police chief and DPW director are working. They have discussions with someone on the possibility of providing funding for security cameras in the community. When we do rely on the engineers to prepare grant applications for us, it's probably about $2,500 to $3,000 for each grant application. It's not a large amount of money in terms of the potential opportunity for funding, but there is a cost attached to it. So I would say probably about probably about $3,000 when we have them apply for a grant on our behalf. But those are limited to, I'm thinking of, I know the Clean Water Revolving Fund program for sanitary sewer to try to get low interest loans for the sewer project, as well as the Drinking Water Revolving Fund program for the water side, which they were successful in getting us low-interest loans for that. And the Transportation Economic Development Category B, they filed that application on our behalf. But those are the only 3 times that I believe we have relied on our consultants.
Yes, so my thoughts, I'm going to talk a little bit. So my thoughts are that the issue with grants, the first issue is identifying that the grant exists out in the world, right? So it would suggest to me that people that are appropriately interested in these things should expend time. So we have existing staff, a police chief who's diligently looking for money, he's always talking about searching for money. DPW director attends quite a few classes, and he's in touch with the permitting agencies. And then the village manager, who belongs to all the organizations, and I know gets a tremendous amount of email from outside. I would be more inclined to request that we officially require you guys to spend a little time looking for grants. Make it part of your job description that you would, once a month or spend an hour searching for grants. I've looked at the grant application sites, and there are tremendous federal lists and state lists of you got to go through. I don't know why our staff couldn't search for grants. As far as the writing the grants, so first we have to find them. Idea 1 is we have to find the grants. I agree completely. We should be looking for them, promote looking for them, but I don't see how as a grant writer person could really necessarily have the job background to search for the different grants for the different groups. I know our consultants, the engineers, are always looking for grants for their people, and they also have a hotline out for water grants and sewer grants. So I would think that we could promote our own people with another policy or just a little job description change to include part of their job is to spend that extra half hour searching for grants. So as far as the writing of the grants, I think we don't necessarily need to set aside $30,000. I mean, it sounds to me like as each grant is identified, they can come forward and say we need $2,500 to hire the grant writer. And I think, we're looking at a couple grant writers, and I think this is why I was not opposed to the additional administrative staff member in the village. There's a lot of routine activities performed by the village administrative officers that could be done by clerical and that would allow a little more time for them. That's why I've always joked about getting the DPW director as secretary, okay? Because there are some more serious upper management activities that our staff could be looking at, while the support staff could be, taking complaints or going for a sidewalk walk or something. So I'm inclined to make a motion towards requesting the village manager to come up with a non-financial proposal of how we could use existing staff and consultants to just actively encourage the search for grants, as opposed to just let's put 30 grand aside and if we find one, we'll pay for it, or hire a full-time staff member, to look for grants. They really may not know what to look for. So
Is that a
that would be
formal?
the motion, to just direct him to come let's see what we could come with a proposal to take our existing people, organize them to proactively look for grants, and then come back to us and see what that looks like.
I'll support that. And then my comments is, I think that was the intent of our motion last time, actually, as I read through the summary of council's action, is to investigate opportunities within the administration structure to do that, the current structure. The reason I couldn't vote just to refocus or to refocus a position is the position's already posted, interviews are being set up, and so to go back to the drawing board when a job description was approved by this council didn't seem appropriate. But I do wonder, kind of along those similar lines, if maybe in that interview process, or as you think about, as our administration thinks about this new person, maybe it's 2 hours a week of focused looking for grants and then contacting the appropriate department head, and maybe even being the point person to just follow up. Like, are those getting, do you need support? Can I support in some way? Using that active, it's not taking their whole time, but there's a focused piece that's part of their job description as well. So I think that was the intent, and I think I was hoping that some of the administration comments would come back with some of those ideas of, hey, let's be a little bit more focused, include it as job description, maybe ask the new person to spend an hour or two every week kind of holding that vision for the village. So that's why I'm happy to support that motion. Other council comments?
So in effect, what we're doing is we're suggesting that administration do their job. That's kind of a blunt way to put it.
I love you too, George.
Well, no, I think that's what we just said, right?
Yeah. I think it's a formalizing a little bit more.
Clarifying some additional job responsibilities we might want them to have.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I take exception to that comment. And I think my entire staff would take exception to that comment. We have been doing our jobs. Let me read through my background brief for the benefit of the public. Administration reviews projects and seeks to identify grant funding opportunities, matching projects whenever possible. However, as is the case with organizations with limited staffing, 4 full-time people in the office, I think 4 department heads, 3 department heads, the village currently does not possess the staffing necessary to aggressively pursue, apply for, and administer grant programs. Administration relies upon the village's existing departmental staff and consultants to assist in pursuit of grant funding opportunities whenever possible. In addition to community development block grant funds, within the past 3 years, the village has been successful in obtaining more than $2 million in grant funding, including a $1.75 million Congressional Community Projects Grant for Phase 1 of the Sanitary Sewer Pump Stations project, $100,000 in Oakland County Infrastructure Planning Grant for the pump stations, $335,000 in American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA funding, being used for the pump stations, $250,000 in Transportation Economic Development Category B grant funding for the 2026 Street Improvement Program, and a total of $15,000 in Oakland County Local Road Improvement funding for street crack sealing and other road projects each year. We're continuing to pursue possible Clean Water State Revolving Fund, low-interest bonds and grant funding, and Congressional Community Projects grant funding for the pump stations project. Private funding for police technology, downtown and village hall camera and audio systems, and other grant opportunities. I believe we do a damn good job with the resources that we have available to us. And to make the comment that you're simply telling us to do our jobs, we don't need you to tell us to do that.
So I went back and
No, I'm still speaking.
okay, well, let me know when you're finished.
We go above and beyond with the small staff that we have to do everything that needs to be done in this community. It's a unique community. It's a lake community with very unusual characteristics. And we do a good job at it. if you want to add another day of work to keep Village Hall open, we have been supportive of that. But you are adding 10 hours per week. Mr. Dandelides is the one that came up with the idea of being open not only an extra day a week, but now we're open extra hours each day during that 5-day week, 10 to 12 hours additional a week. That's why we've added this additional part-time person to fill that 10 to 12 hours per week in staffing to operate those 10 to 12 hours more per week. It keeps getting overlooked that it's not just doing the same number of hours of operation per week. You've added 10 to 12 hours of additional operation. That's why we have the additional part-time person. Now, when you add work items, whoever it is, whether it's me, whether it's my department heads, whether it's other staff, there's got to be resources allocated to do that. You are increasing the workload. So I hope that we avoid in the future making disparaging comments about telling us to do our jobs. We have been doing this work for many, many years. I have been managing communities for 35 and a half years. Communities much larger than this one. So let's dispose of the disparaging comments. I appreciate hearing what council feels are needs, and let's discuss how we handle those needs. But I am not going to sit by and hear comments like that and not respond to them. I am finished, Councilmember Dandelides.
So I listened to the audio of our discussion on this last week. There were multiple comments, including one by you, that we should be trying to leverage the grant writer from the township. And there were multiple comments from council, and you made a comment also. So my question is, did anybody talk to somebody from the township to see if that's a possibility?
I did.
You did?
I reached out to Township Supervisor Barnett to clarify some previous comments that he had made about offering up grant writing services from their staff member and how we might be able to engage in a collaborative effort with them on that. Supervisor Barnett indicated to me that they simply do not have the additional capacity with that position to take on regular grant writing for the village. They're willing to offer up their grant writer on a case-by-case basis as they can fit it in, but they don't have the capacity to engage in any type of comprehensive collaboration with the village. My staff also reached out to their grant writer to get some additional information on how they handle employing a grant writer. What do they do? How successful are they in their grant writing efforts? And I know that they are still collecting that information from that person. I appreciate the township's offer to help us in any way they can, but they do not have the capacity to assist us on a regular basis.
Other council comments? Mr. Lamb.
Getting back to the motion on the floor, not to be construed, my suggestion was with the additional staffing, with the 10 hours additional effort, we put a body in place that may or may not have a lot of work to do for the new staff member. So my hope was that you could somehow fill their life with work and displace some of your time. That's what my request was. Find out if we could free up some of your time and put some of your more clerical. I know that everyone in the village fills in for everyone else, and you guys do a lot of paperwork, clerical, data entry. I'm aware of all that. So just saying, if we utilize that existing staff person, train them up, hire a more you've hired looking for a fairly qualified clerical, I think, from the description. So that would be my intention.
And I do want to say, all of us do our part. It's not just the manager looking at opportunities and applying for grants. Every one of our department heads is proactive in that regard. They're constantly thinking about how they can leverage resources. So they do an outstanding job, but there's only so much time that we, as a very limited staff, can devote to it. What I heard from council was that you wanted to be more aggressive and have more resources allocated to pursuing additional grant opportunities, hopefully receiving additional grant funding. But in order to do that, you've also got to make the investment in the resources to spend the time to do that. Because we wear many, many hats to get things done. And so we do the best that we can. I think our track record in the millions of dollars we brought in just in the past 3 years attests to that. But if the council wants to double that amount, there's going to have to be an additional investment made. And I think by relying on our consultants, and I'm wholeheartedly in support of coming back when we do identify grant opportunities and saying, let's contract with our engineer or our planner to prepare a grant application. I think that's the best way to do it.
So you don't have a problem relooking at this in light of?
I do not.
Okay, thank you.
Any other council comments? Public comments?
I just have one, and it's a question. Why is it that the city hall's closed on Fridays? We're talking about budgeting and hiring people and doing this, but we're closed every Friday.
So before I came back, the recommendation was made by the interim village manager to go from a 5-day work week to a 4-day work week for employees. It was to address existing staffing shortages within Village Hall, and also because we cannot compete with some larger municipalities on what we pay our employees.
Right.
One of the ways to stay within our existing pay structure, but make working here more attractive for employees, was to have a 4-day work week, 10 hours a day, with a 3-day weekend, and it makes it attractive without having to increase pay.
Yeah, so they're working their 4 days with the 10 hours.
Yes,
So I
they're
just need
still
to
working
give
40
you
hours
time
a
to
week,
clarify that.
but in 4 days instead of 5. And as a result of that, we were actually able to eliminate one of the part-time positions that we had that was costing us about $30,000 a year. We were able to eliminate that position and stick with the 4-day work week and the lower staffing. Now we're going back to a 5 days of operations. We've got to bring that part-time employee back to fill in the gap.
Any other public comments or questions? So we have a motion on the floor. Could you read that out, Lindsay?
Move to direct the village manager to come up with, I didn't, yeah.
I think it was a recommendation to more fully utilize the existing staff to research grants by.
What I heard from you, council member, was to rely on village staff to identify funding opportunities, and then to come back to the council if we need to have someone prepare the grants, come back to the council with a recommendation on utilizing consultants to actually prepare the grants. That's
Yes,
what
and
I
I
heard.
just, the caveat there was we talked about encouraging you to displace some of your time onto the new clerical staff so they can be fully utilized and you can get a little more time on your schedule to do this. Whether it's an hour a month, it's one grant, 1 hour. I mean, you can look at it, so. I think, is it?
Yeah, and I think it was the intention just, I mean, I don't think any of you are going to be here 40 years from now. I mean, maybe if you really want to be, but, but like there's this expectation that, yeah, it is part of your job. We know you wear lots of hats, but whoever's, going to take the DPW director role or the police chief role in the future, then maybe it would be known that this is a small piece of what we do with some intention. Obviously not your full job.
I think it's in Darwin's
Yeah.
job description. I'm not sure, but I don't know if we should, you might want to look at the job descriptions and just, give it a little more priority than, the last thing to do on a very busy day would be to look for the grants. Maybe we should prioritize it as a, monthly ritual of an hour or something. Just, you think about it, but I think existing staff can do the job. We've already given them extra staffing. I think they can.
Yeah, so the motion will be to have administration look at how they can work within the existing administration structure to prioritize a small portion of time for that and utilizing the consultants then to help us in grant preparation and coming back to the council with, budgetary items.
Like Darwin
Yeah.
said, except,
Yeah.
like Darwin, what you said is what I like. Just add a little bit to it to make it sound better.
So we have a motion, we have support. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So item 11B, updates on council items from the manager, Mr. Dandelides.
Yeah, so the one of them I see that you have in the manager's report, and that was on the Lake Orion Dam report from back in January. And I'm not looking for updates here. I'd just like to know when we're going to see something back. So the August 11th regular meeting, report back to council on recommendations for the village sign ordinance. This is a follow-up to sandwich board type signs. As I recall, the village manager and the DDA executive director were supposed to get together to work on that, so I'd be curious to know what the status on that one is. August 25th regular meeting, what's the status of the Lions Jubilee event? That application was being processed, so I'm curious what that status of that is. And then phase 3 of the village property inventory, as I last heard on September 16th, and that was with a correspondence with our planning coordinator. He was waiting for administration to review and get back to him. So I'd just be curious when we can expect to hear something on those 3.
Do you have any response or updates on those items? Mr.
Sure.
McCleary?
On the Lions Club Jubilee, they did file their application. It's been reviewed. The fire department has rejected it like they did in previous years. I believe that's slated to come back on the agenda for the next meeting. So the fire department did request that be removed from the agenda because we did notify the fire department and the Lions Club that it would be on the November 24th meeting agenda. The fire department requested that it be removed from that agenda so that the fire department could have conversations with individual council members, and I recommended to them that they not do that, that it should come before the full council, and if they have comments or concerns, that they should present those to the council at your regular meeting. So unless I have direction otherwise from council, it's going to be on your November 24th meeting. The property inventory, I believe, if I remember correctly, Mario said that that would be ready to present by the end of the year, which would have to be done by your first meeting in December, because we don't have a second meeting in December. But I will follow up with him and find out about that. I will also talk to my staff some more about the sign ordinance and get back with you on that.
Thank you.
Would it not be,
Yes, Mr. Lim?
so the property inventory, it's complete?
It's in the final stages of being complete, and then a full report is going to be coming back to the council.
So are they planning on making recommendations, or are they just planning on reporting on the existing condition and the location of the properties and their disposition?
I haven't seen the report yet, but my expectation was that they were simply going to provide a comprehensive report on the existing conditions. And that data was going to be presented to the council, and then the council was going to decide what you wanted to do with that data, how you wanted to proceed, if at all.
So I personally am looking for location, use, being, conforming or non-conforming use, and, yeah, I don't know as the ownership or so we're going to assume that the property is owned by the village. That's our first assumption. And then secondly, they're going to identify, I just wanted, don't have a big report come and have something missing from it that one of us would have liked. So I'm telling him now what I need to see in such a report, since it's not here yet.
I think there's a phase 4 also, right?
Yeah. That would be the recommendation part. So I'm looking, okay, so we're going to get where the properties are and what their disposition is and whether they're currently conforming, the use is conforming to our ordinances.
So, just so that I'm clear on this, the properties that we believe are owned by the village, without doing extensive
Yes.
deed searches or anything like that. An inspection of each of the properties with photographs of each property and what improvements may have been made to those properties. So that is the data that will be contained in that report. That report will come back to the council. If we want to take action on any of the properties or all of the properties because of unauthorized improvements, then we will engage the neighbors and provide an opportunity for them to come forward. And if they dispute that the village owns the property, they can present information to us as to, copies of deeds or what have you to help argue their cases. And then we will look at each property on a case-by-case basis if the council wants us to go into the phase 3 part of it, which would be trying to determine who may have made improvements to village property, whether they were authorized or not authorized, whether they need to be removed, or whether we should be considering license agreements with adjacent properties.
We don't need to
That's
talk
a
about
phase 3.
yeah,
That is
policy.
a phase 3, if we want to go that far.
I encourage you to bring that forth as soon as possible, because there's a lot of people that are in limbo and they want to get to the decision-making part quickly. So, if we already have the basic data, it's going to take some time to talk about this stuff. We don't need to predetermine any, if they've done, bring it forth. I don't need a lot of pictures and color brochures with
Well, I
little
think
dragons on them and stuff.
Well, the data's got to be organized so that we can, we can decipher it.
Please
But,
organize it in a non.
But my understanding is that report is supposed to be coming back to council by your first meeting in December.
Thank you. All right. So with that, no other agenda items. I'll call to the public, just as before. If you would like to make Oh, do we have to receive and file those?
Yeah, we don't have a motion, so I need a motion for 11B. We don't have
Okay,
a
we
motion
have a
for
motion.
11B, so.
I don't think we need a motion.
Just a
just
discussion?
report. Yeah,
Okay.
just a report.
Got it.
Yep. So call to the public, same as before, on any item, and please come on up.
Yeah, I got cut off at the end here. I just, on my water bill, I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of a background here. And on my bill, like I said, when I started here in 2012, my bill was $93.94. My bill as of today is $391.27. I'm only one person that lives in a condo. And what I did is I went through and I took the bill and I did all the math, and this is what I came up with. This is in 1 year what my bill would be. In 1 year, my water is $575.92. Sewer is $107.64. Trash is $222.72. And I can't find out where $658.80 is going to on my bill. I've come in here since 2012, and I've asked every single time I come in here, and these poor women that work at this station over here, what's wrong? How come my bill is so high? How come my bill is so high? I've come in here and asked and asked and asked. You can change your meter. They do it in hundreds of units, and I'm asking and asking and asking, and all it keeps going is up and up and up and up. When we do our budgets, I mean, I would, maybe if I could suggest, instead of throwing 6% into the whole toolbox of the DPW, maybe we go line per line. I know it may take extra time, but I just don't think that the way the budget is coming in and the way the forecasts are, these numbers are just not making sense, and I don't think the public really understands exactly what's going on. I'm going to be giving you the truth. The other thing that I'd like to make a suggestion on, and I know that it has been brought up before, but I think it would be totally cost efficiency to have monthly bills. It really makes, I know you're going to say it costs a lot of money, but it's a lot easier, I think, for people to come in and spend, you know, may it be their mind or how they budget, but watching people walk up and pay $1,000 bills, this has got to end. I'm a single resident in a condo paying $391. My bill went up $100 from last quarter. I didn't do anything. I'm single. $391. And when I came in here, and you know what? And I apologize to all you new members because you guys shouldn't even be involved in this. I had Mr. Narsh sit there and tell me, look it up in the newspaper. It was our mistake. We let everything go. 2012, I had a $90-some bill. 2025, 13 later, nothing has gotten done, and my bill's $391. I don't get it. What am I doing wrong? Where is the $658.80 that I can't find on the bill? It's got to stop. I mean, I could get 100 people in here and talk for 4 minutes, and we could be here all night long, but I don't know if you guys understand the sense of urgency here. We talk about older community and how old the community is, but you can't rob Peter to pay Paul. We've got to do something here, and I totally agree with what you were saying with the grants and everything, and there's one person in this room that I bet you nobody even knows about, and that's Wes. Every single month, he writes a letter to Lisa Slotkins and Peters to get money for the infrastructure. We just got to do something about this water bill. I can't pay $400. I'm on a budget. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking my time.
Anyone else for call to the public? Please.
Hi. I'm Jackie Doran at 316 North Washington, and I was here 2 weeks ago. This has to do with the water bill as well. I came because, like others, my bill was a huge surprise to me. I am a single woman. I work 40 hours a week, I am barely home, and my bills was over $700. The subject came up last time, 2 weeks ago, about the possibility of allowing residents to have a second meter for lawn irrigation. I did have a study done, and I can see that that's where the majority of my water bill, how it was raised, and it had to do with the sewer usage. 2 weeks ago, it was determined that the topic of allowing residents to have a second meter would be investigated, and I just wondered where we were with that. I thought it was going to be brought up today.
So that is something that administration, you can contact administration on their progress on doing that.
Oh, the results will not be discussed in this?
It will be when
forum?
they're done with, but if you want to check the status on something, you can go to the administration.
Okay, fair enough.
Teresa,
Thank you.
He will be speaking on it in the
And is
his comments.
What's that?
The manager will be speaking on it shortly.
during his comments.
Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment? I'll close call to the public. Item 13, DDA Executive Director comments. Mr. Gibb.
Good evening, Madam President, members of council. This is the first time added to the agenda. I want to thank you for the invitation. Pretty regular. Given the first time I didn't prepare a specific report, I thought that we would create a kind of a working dialogue as this goes forward. If the council, any member of the council, as this moves forward, wants something very specifically brought forward, it's a quick phone call or a stop in, and I know many of you do that. I've had the pleasure to meet with all of you. I would thank the village manager and Wes and the chief, really the whole team, Lindsay today even. The relationship between the DDA and the village, I feel in the last couple of months has substantially improved. We seem to be kind of seeing it together. And I know we face a lot of stresses and we face a lot of anxieties, and a lot of that's been shown tonight, and I really believe that we're working together. So what is the DDA working on right now that would be impactful for our village and this council? As it pertains to grants, we're pursuing, my office particularly, 3 specific grant opportunities that would be sought after for things that were discussed in your initial session at 5:30, your special meeting. Where can we find additional grant resources that might apply directly towards things like the bank stabilization, the bridge project that Mr. Sanchez says? The DDA is in a unique position to go after those dollars, much different than the village manager or, quite frankly, the DPW department. They have limitations as to the types of directions and arguments they can make for those grants that we simply have a different approach. And so we're pursuing 3 specific grants, some that are well-known, like the T-Mobile grant that is a quarterly opportunity. They're specific to placemaking. They're specific to things like the bank stabilization project that are more community-wide. So we're pursuing those particular opportunities. At the last couple of meetings, this council, as well as our board, has discussed how can we become more proactive in collaborating together, not creating ideas, but really truly collaborating together and finding additional resources. We're hearing again tonight the stresses that our community has when it comes to capital improvements. And so at our next meeting, which is a week from tomorrow, on the 18th, I would encourage any of you, any of the members of the public that would like to be there. It's always open. I know Mr. Dandelides comes, I think, every meeting, which we're grateful for. We'll be discussing an opportunity for us to be more proactive of what eligibility can we create by legal definition within the existing adopted TIF plan. I know this was a discussion not only at your last couple of meetings, ours as well. What are the parameters? How can we stretch that? How can we stretch the definition so that as you look at opportunities for the DDA to participate and collaborate in certain funding as it goes forward, that the DDA is in a more state of readiness for that argument. We'll be pursuing our own opportunities on my recommendation to our board for us to be able to spend dollars that we get an opportunity again. So we get an opportunity to apply for and get $10,000 of strategic technical assistance money because we're a nationally accredited Main Street program. Because of that status that all of you helped us gain, and remember, we get reviewed every year. Mr. Papchik, I'll have to update you on that, but we get reviewed every year to maintain that status. It is a laborious process to go through. It's much like meeting your MS4 stormwater plan that Carol Thurber presented earlier today. It just doesn't happen by chance. You have to work hard for those standards. So we'll be looking at opportunities. Can we spend some of that resource that would be allocated to us to bring in our own consultant? But it isn't just for us. It's for us in the sense of what this council, what we can do in parks and other things that might open up collaborative resources on how we can define what we already have at hand before we go down the road of do we open, do we repurpose, do we notice, all those things. Well, what can we do and available? So we're working on those. That'll be on our agenda this coming Tuesday to really get strategic on how the DDA can be more of a collaborative partner. So how's that worked recently? So the chief and I and Ray Hammond, your excellent ordinance code enforcement officer, I'm super pleased, and I'd say it publicly for the chief, not just to butter him up, super pleased with the direction that he has code enforcement going in our community. For years, code enforcement was a train wreck, I'll be real honest, and that's not a disparagement of Jerry or anybody else that came before, but it didn't have a strategic purpose to it. It didn't have a defined plan of how we were going to do this together for creating notice and opportunity for our community to be more aware. So how does that pertain right now? Snow events are coming. We have an ordinance regarding snow removal for owners, property owners, and businesses alike. We had an excellent meeting today strategizing on how we could collaborate, how the DDA can use its communication tools, our resources as it pertains to who we know within the business community to create a greater awareness of the opportunity for code enforcement. Also having an opportunity for us to exhaust those remedies and lean heavily on code enforcement to enforce the ordinance as it pertains to snow and ice and other things. This applies to a lot of other categories. And so we're taking it piece by piece. So it was a very positive meeting. You'll see some communication from the DDA. We'll talk about it at our board meeting next week. They're pushing hard for my office to work with Wes, another place we've worked. He's super busy. I don't chase him down often, but when I do, Wes is immediately responsive. We have 5 very important public parking areas downtown that are technically DDA invested parking areas. The front and Anderson lot is a DDA lot. I mean, that's 41 parking spaces that are integral, particularly in the winter months, to getting people closer to the economic vitality of our downtown. The parking lot across the street from our office, the parking lot behind Irish Tavern, the parking lot that's adjacent to Congresswoman McLean's office where the State Farm office is, and the Slater Street lot are all DDA functional lots. And in lieu of Wes and I arguing, well, who should do what, he's doing his best to get his covered. I'm doing my best. We'll bring it to our board, how we as a DDA can simply jump in. Why shoulder the DPW with more cost and more dialogue when the DDA might be able to jump in? We have an attitude of, as long as we can all get it done, who cares who's getting it done? Let's just get it done. So we're going to be looking at that. We already have announced to our business community the DDA will not be funding a sidewalk clearing effort. Now that's different than a lot of years in this town, but it used to be that owners and businesses would clear their own property. The DDA kind of agrees. We would love to have the luxury of that, but we all collectively are helping build the lumberyard project. So you'll see that next week, all of these different things. So thanks, Wes, thank the chief, and thanks, Darwin and Lindsay today. The long-awaited, like, where is our site plan to the Planning Commission? And I know everybody said, well, Gibby, you have been saying, like, wait, it's coming, it's coming. We were able to functionally create the process so that we could put escrow money into account to free up the village engineers to give us some of the information and some of the discretionary data that we need to be able to formulate how we're going to manage our stormwater. It's a critical function. Mr. McClary was able to add some great quotes, very good quotes, Darwin, on the school project down the street here. That is finally breaking free in large part because of the proactive nature of what's happening in the way that stormwater is getting addressed in the community. And you heard a presentation tonight, a little serendipitous. We're no different. So we now have that data. I know there were some comments earlier. Well, she left. I love Rosemary Ford and all the work she does in our community. Regarding the MDOT percolation basin area, that's where the data point has really been lost. As I reported to our board and a little bit to you in the last few months, we found that certain things were not in the places that they were supposed to be, meaning part of the sanitary sewer lead is a little bit askew of where the easement is on our property. That's not a problem. It's a total fixable thing. It doesn't really need to be fixed. It's a bad word, but it's just how we plan and lay ourselves out. MDOT's no different. So we are now working with the hydraulic division and the permitting division at MDOT. One of the things that's causing us a further delay is there seems to be a multiplicity of voices from this community that want to talk directly to MDOT, and that's confusing the heck out of the work that's being done. And so we have residents that are contacting MDOT And then they call me and they're like, we're not sure who's in charge of the project and what's going on. So we're trying our best to quickly kind of work through that process. So where's the lumberyard at? That's exactly where we're at. We are about 90 days behind, in complete honesty, about where we are from an engineered stormwater management plan. What's resulting from that is we're realizing that even though we're using permeable surface, the MS4 standards, all those acronyms that you heard tonight on the proposal, it's going to require us to do some of our own on-site detention. We have to get a permitted agreement with MDOT to utilize the percolation area to maintain the integrity of the Paint Creek out of our site. There's two ways we can do it. We could spend an enormous amount of money to talk to the Gwynn Apartments and put underground work all the way to that retention area that hasn't been improved in forever, or we can work directly with MDOT. So we're working directly with MDOT right now on that. We believe it's going to accelerate itself. Both sides are very optimistic about where this is moving quickly. In the meantime, all of that dialogue you've heard me say about who might be there, the type of users, that is defining our basis of the users that would be identified in repurposing that site so that we can leverage the long-term taxable side of our taxable, non-taxable bonds. And so it sounds like I'm passing the buck again from the timetable, but I'm very excited that we're finally at a point where the engineering side of that's moving forward. We have moved forward. This is applause to my colleagues here. We are utilizing and maximizing as much of our existing zoning compliance permit and the permits of the township to do the structural repair, the footing repair, and finishing the integrity of the 4 structures that we're preserving and saving on site. We're all but exhausted that. So today, the clerk's office was able to manually process some checks for us because we didn't know the weather was going to turn 20 degrees tonight and 51 degrees on Friday. We're trying to take advantage of that. And so thank you to the administrative staff today for doing that. Darwin's been great in making sure that we're functionally staying on top of our permit scale. The township is as well. The building official has done 3 re-inspections in the last 2 weeks of things that we've been doing out there under those permits. So things are moving forward with us. That would be my report for tonight. Madam President, I know I'm not on the timer. I want to keep it efficient for you. And as this moves forward, again, if there's specific things, I would just encourage council to work through the chair. That's the appropriate protocol. Have Ms. Rutt contact me or through Ms. Rutt to Mr. McClary. He and I have been emailing a lot in the last couple of weeks, so it's been great. With that, any questions you might have for the DDA? I know that Sing and Stroll's coming up. There's be hot chocolate and Santa Claus and another 1,500 people shopping downtown. But questions you might have for us?
Well, since it's director comments, just similar to manager comments, it's your comments, and then we can, follow up later.
Perfect. Follow up at any time. I'm in all week.
Thank you. With that, item 14, council comments. Mr. Lamb.
Did I miss Darwin's comments?
He's after us.
Oh, okay. All right, so my first comment is, today is the 250th anniversary of the United States Marine Corps, of which I am proud to have served. And my dear deceased father was a combat veteran of the United States Marine Corps in Korea. He gave me this shirt before he died. He bought it for me. It's a Marine Corps tartan for those of you on camera. But this is the official tartan of the United States Marine Corps. You see those people with bagpipes and hatchets and stuff. Well, their roots are back in this tartan. So I just wanted to say to all my Marine Corps brothers out there, Semper Fi, and those of you that don't know that, it means always faithful. And I try in my life to always be faithful to my personal beliefs, my community beliefs, my country's beliefs, and of course my wife's beliefs. So with that, I just want to let you know.
That should have been number 1.
See, you see how you can't win. All right, so taking that hat off. Oh, and lastly, this is the only item that I have that's still fit. And I'm not sure if my head got bigger or not, but I weighed 130 pounds when I got out of the Marine Corps, dripping wet. And I tell you, I don't weigh that now. My second comment, so happy birthday, Marine Corps, and thank you all the service people for, I don't know why. So the Marine Corps' nickname is the Suck. And so if you're ever in the Marine Corps, you would know why that is. But I want to thank everybody for their service and just let you guys know it's the 250th anniversary. The only comment I have tonight is the water and sewer bills. And once again, I wanted to tell Brenda that the reason why her water and sewer bills keep going up is because we have to fix the water and sewer system, and there is no money saved up for it, which she reiterated herself. And unfortunately, we all know that the water and sewer bills are going to go up next year, and probably the year after that, and the year after that, because we have millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of bonds to pay for. Unfortunately, the village has a budget, and usually the government budget has so much money, and then they spend the money, and there's not a lot of extra money. So this village particularly, which has already been acknowledged, has no extra money for any sewer and water projects. So who's going to pay for it? Brenda, I am so sorry, but I'm going to pay for it, and you're going to pay for it, and all of these people are going to pay for it. So the good news is at least the council is willing to acknowledge that and talk about ways that we can ameliorate the suffering of the people under the great hardships of the sins of our fathers. Isn't that great, passing the buck back 20, 30 years on people? So Brenda, you're going to end up paying more. I'm so sorry. I'm going to pay a lot more. And I know our staff is working as diligently hard as they can on finding resources or ways to keep those costs down. So.
Mr. Camperoni.
Well, I want to say happy Veterans Day for all the vets, and thank you very much. That's for tomorrow. And I want to say thank you to Darwin for running his crew the way he runs it. He does an outstanding job. Personally, I don't think it's our position to tell him to micromanage this or that when he's doing an awesome job. Could it be better? Yeah, everybody could be better once in a while, but he's holding his own. He really is for what he has. And what else we got here? Yeah, the water sewer bill. I honestly, George brought it up last meeting. He's pouring a gallon of water out of the faucet and getting charged a gallon and a half for sewer. It just didn't make any sense to me, other than I think somebody's stealing it. I honestly believe there should be a study on how much water versus the sewer each one is, or however you want to put it like that. I honestly believe, and I've heard, people are bypassing some meters, but I just heard that from in the bathroom. And I would kind of like to check that out, because I don't want to pay for somebody's free water. I'll pay for the good stuff. So just with that being said, I just want to thank all you guys for doing a heck of a job. And have a good week.
Mr. Ford.
Yeah, I appreciate the public comments, and it's hard to sit here and listen to it. It's something that we're all going through with the water and sewer. And yet I feel like, we're doing as much as we can to address those issues. I appreciate Mr. Gibb coming in with his updates, and we continue to look forward to that project. And I too would like to thank our administration and the work that they do, because they, we're trying to direct them and to do their job, and then they show evidence that they are doing it. I appreciate their hard work. Thank you.
Mr. Nandelides.
So first of all, I apologize for hitting a nerve. It was not my intention. Probably a very bad choice of words. But I am very passionate about our financial situation. And I am not willing to sit back and accept status quo. I believe, so we got two ways to handle this. We can cut cost, and we can increase revenue. And I believe that we need to be going after our budget and see what we can do. I know that there are areas where we can reduce our budget. I'm confident of that. We just need to sit down and get after it. I also I believe that there are opportunities out there to bring in additional revenue that doesn't necessarily mean raising water and sewer bills or raising taxes. And I just think we need to go about both of those aggressively, and I'm passionate about that. and I'm willing to do my part to make those happen.
Ms. Mosier?
Well, I always thank everybody for coming, but most people are gone. But I still thank them for coming. I also want to thank the administration, Mr. McCleary. You all do wear a lot of hats. People don't realize, I think, what goes on behind the scenes. So I thank all of you because a lot does go on and the public, I don't think, really knows. I also am happy that Mr. Bellinger was reappointed to the Cable Commission. I really enjoyed working with him for the last 3 years. He's a great guy. He's very insightful. I will be in Washington, D.C. next week for my National Professional Convention, which I love going to because I'm with all my people. And I hope I can get there and the plane goes, and I hope that some of the museums are open. But I'm going anyway to take classes and learn some new stuff. So, happy winter. I'm done.
Mr. Papachek?
Yeah, I'd just like to echo the sentiments and the appreciation for the village administration. Just in my short time here, it's a great relationship and expertise that you guys have. And I'd also like to reiterate, reminder, Veterans Day tomorrow. So I think we owe a lot of the veterans a great deal of gratitude and thank you for their service. So don't be shy about reaching out to a veteran, thinking of some veterans that you know, and appreciating that day tomorrow.
Thank you. Echoing fellow council members' comments about Veterans Day, a huge thanks to all those who have served in our military, and a lot of times that it goes unseen and unacknowledged. So thank you to them. To our DDA director for coming and giving us updates today. Also, I think water bills are due this Thursday. Speaking of water bills, so remember they're due this Thursday. I just had to come pay mine, which my husband's a federal employee, so we're still waiting for paychecks, so that one hurt a little bit. But we are in this together. In the last 10 years or so, we've had to do water main projects. We're in the middle of sewer system projects, and it's hard, but as we said, we have to do it. We can't not take care of our system. So we're right there with you, paying those bills as well. Nobody wants to raise their own water bills. In regards to the sidewalk, there was a question about sidewalks, and I know Ms. Byers, Brenda's not here anymore, but she had asked about what the $3,000 in the sidewalk fund was for, and that was prepaying for sidewalks that then residents who are responsible for their own sidewalks then reimburse the village for. So it wasn't that, oh, the village is spending $30,000 on sidewalks. It's that we set that money aside so we could prepay our contractor, and then the village residents reimbursed for their portion of the sidewalks. Hopefully, I'm hoping administration gets back. I hear you on the fence issue. That's a year-long struggle. That's hard. So I'm certain that our village manager will be following up on that to help bring some resolution to that. So with that, village manager comments.
Thank you, Your Honor. First, I did want to also address Ms. Byers' comments. It is painful with the rate increases that we've seen over the past few years in the water and sewer fund. I think all of us are sensitive to that and our understanding of the impact that it has on many people. We need to keep in mind that just over the past 5 years, about 5 years, we have made over $6 million in improvements to the water system, replacing most of the west half of the village's water system. We're just wrapping up phase 1 of the sanitary sewer pump stations, $3.5 million, so that's almost $10 million in improvements that we've made in the past 5 years. There's still more to be done. And when you have to spread these costs over a customer base of only 1,500 customers, it is a huge impact. We don't have the benefit of being able to spread it over 15,000 customers. It's 1,500 customers that have to bear the responsibility for these improvements, but they have to be done. The sewer improvements, the water improvements, that's not something that's optional for either the council or administration. They are improvements that have to be done because we have made a conscious decision that we are not going to kick the can down the road. That they are things that have to be done for the benefit of our current customers as well as future customers. Your Honor, you've received the manager's report for tonight. I did note for you the outdoor irrigation metering. We did receive direction from council to prepare a policy for allowing for outdoor irrigation metering and then to adjust sewer bills as a result of that. Because there would be penalties involved as part of that policy, it has to be done by ordinance, not by a simple policy. We have drafted an ordinance. We are reviewing that internally. It has to go to the village attorney for final review, and then it'll be presented to council for your introduction and adoption. We are hoping to have that to you probably by your December meeting. I provided you with an update on the status of the dam inspection report action plan and where we're at on that. We received 48 applications for the part-time administrative assistant position. We are going to be reviewing those applications and whittling the applications down to our 4 finalists, and we will be interviewing those individuals over the next few weeks. I did note for you that depending on the time frame that the new employee needs to give their current employer, if any, advance notice, as well as initial training for that person, we may be delaying the implementation of the 5-day office hours until mid-December, but we will only know what's happening with that after we make a decision on hiring. I provided you with an update on the legal services review ad hoc committee and where they're at in their process. We continue to move along on that work. And I provided you with some important upcoming dates for your information. That's all I have tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you. We have no closed session items, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Hey, Teresa, what do I do with this gift? The 25-cent gift that the citizen left all of us?
Recycle it. It's not real.
Huh?
It's not real.
Spend it.
It's not real.
Is this not real money?
Motion to adjourn?
I'm gonna give it to the village, to Darwin.
Sounds good. Do we have a motion and support for adjournment? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.